Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Guys Who Stare at Stats. I'm Cade Kennedy, and Connor Gray will join me shortly. Andrew Santangelo, we don't know if he's going to be here today. We hope he is. I'd love for him to be here. We have no idea if he will or not. But what I can tell you is it has been an exciting time for sports all across the U.S., all across the world even now, with the Winter Olympics underway. Already seen some interesting competition there, whether it be hockey, whether it be figure skating, curling, everyone's favorite sport. You either like it or you joke about liking it or hating it. I don't know. Curling's an interesting sport. But I digress. The important thing is there's a lot going on in the world, and that includes the teams just a minute or two from where our NWTV studio is located. Of course, talking about our college team, the Northwestern Rangers. The Rangers have been on a roll, and they have continued to play great basketball over the past few weeks as the Rangers try to continue to cement themselves at the top of the GAC. Tonight, I'll be discussing how they've done it, as well as what lies ahead for them. On Thursday night, the Rangers did not play as a winter storm that affected the state of Oklahoma continued to cause campuses to close and for games to be postponed. Now, the Rangers did play a Saturday afternoon game, but they also played before the winter storm hit. They played Monday night in Monticello, Arkansas, taking on the Boll Weevils of Arkansas. Monticello just rolls off the tongue. But the Rangers got a 71-55 win over the Boll Weevils. They completed the season sweep for the year, meaning that they won both games against the Boll Weevils. They beat them in Alva. They beat them at Monticello. It was a nice time for them. I do have a source for that story, a nice story from Andrew Santangelo with RideRangersRide.com that covers all Northwestern sports. Rangers win fifth straight after completing season sweep over Arkansas and Monticello. It was a great game for the Rangers. Brian Free had 22 points. Malik Parsons had 19. Bubba Furlong with a double-double, 13 points and 12 rebounds. A solid win there for the Rangers. Another game to talk about that I want to is the East Central game that happened Saturday. Northwestern picking up a 74-51 win over the Tigers. And once again, it really wasn't what we saw last week with Bubba Furlong and Larry White leading the way, getting inside with your bigs. But it was once again the guards. It was Brian Free having a big day, Malik Parsons having a big day. A lot of bench players stepping up, playing the way they need to. And I have a good quote that goes with that, with the Rangers having a good defensive day there, holding the Tigers to 51 points. This is a quote from a Northwestern news story we had about the basketball team. This is from Vinay Patel, the head coach of the Rangers. We haven't been good at home in league play. We did not get a good start, but we've done a good job making up for it on the road. It's in reference to the win against Monticello. Now, the Rangers are now 9-3 at home. They've won 6 straight in a row. It didn't start that way, though. Talking about not being that good at home, really, that refers to the earlier in the season not being able to beat Oklahoma Baptist, struggling against Southeastern. But now they're getting it together, as I mentioned, 9-3 now at home. Now, moving on to what lies ahead for the Rangers, it's a trip to the natural state, Arkansas. Arkadelphia, Arkansas specifically. They'll be taking on Ouachita Baptist on Thursday night. They'll be playing Henderson State on Saturday afternoon. And, I mean, those are going to be 2 big games in the GAC. The Rangers, these are must-win games. Anytime you get to mid-February, I know we're not technically there yet, but we're close enough. It's already the 8th. But once you get into mid-February, these are must-win games that you have to have if you want to continue the fight here. And the last time that Northwestern played Ouachita Baptist, they beat them 83-67. Another article that goes with that, again from Andrew Santangelo of RideRangersRide.com, is Rangers 18-2 second-half run sparks a double-digit win Saturday. That game, of course, referring to the Ouachita Baptist game that was played here in Alva. But the last time Northwestern played Henderson State, they won that game 76-66. And, I mean, it's just going to be an exciting time here in the GAC. The Rangers are 3rd currently in the conference. They've won 6 in a row, like I mentioned earlier. They're 2 games back from Oklahoma Baptist. Now, unfortunately, the Rangers lost both games to the Bison. They were swept by them. So it is going to be a bit of a stretch if Northwestern wants to get back and compete at the top of the GAC. But they're already in 3rd currently. They're in a good spot to make the conference tournament at the very least. And if they can continue to play the way they're playing right now, they have an extremely good chance of making it all the way, maybe even to the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history. If you've liked what you've seen so far, continue to join us. We'll be back in a little bit, but if you want to see more great content here with NWTV7, you can like us on Twitch. You can give us a follow here. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can give us a like on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you have social media, we're probably there. Just search for NWTV7. That's once again NWTV7. So we thank you for tuning in so far. Now on with the rest of the show. And as we get ready to continue to go, as we welcome Connor now in. Connor, it has been an exciting week here so far. It really has. I mean, we have seen so much going on. The main buildup, of course, the Super Bowl on its way Sunday.
Yep.
That is the main story that we've seen a lot this week.
Yep.
But it's not the only thing we've seen.
No,
we've seen a whole lot going on. And, I mean, where better to start than probably the NFL? Talk a little bit about, we're going to get to a story that got shadowed by what happened a few days ago with Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Stuff. We'll talk about Kyler Murray first of all. Now, Kyler Murray unfollowing everything related to the Arizona Cardinals on all social media. We have no idea what that's on about.
Yeah, it's been a confusing mess. It's like no one really knows why he did. There's speculation that there's a trade going on or he's just very unhappy where he is in Arizona, despite the fact they've done pretty much everything they can to make him happy. And right now there's some of the first rumors I heard was that apparently a trade from Deshaun Watson to Arizona, but even then, I don't believe that. It's really weird what's going on. We probably won't know for a bit longer.
I mean, it is an odd situation. There really is no idea to say what is going on, what isn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, it feels like we get some of these every once in a while where you get a team that gets unfollowed by their star player. Sometimes they're just taking a break from social media. Sometimes they're not. You can never really tell what's going on in these situations at all. But if you're an Arizona fan, obviously you hope nothing bad is happening.
Yeah.
But moving on a little bit, I want to talk about the Pro Bowl just because it was funny. Not in a actual good game sense, because
it was terrible.
Well, this was a wonderful game if you like to watch non-existent blocking, no one trying to actually play football, just kind of having fun. I mean, this was a good game to watch and have fun with, but it was not a good competitive football game.
And the thing is, Sean Taylor is looking down on this, being like, shake my head, because I still, like, the biggest thing, obviously, from any Pro Bowl was when he basically murdered a punter trying to get a first down. It's like, you think that at least be able, because NFC, AFC stuff, you think at least try to play like a real football game to some extent, but instead they're just like, I don't really feel like it. And the thing is, the refs are blowing whistles by guys just two-touching instead of just tackling the guy.
I just was waiting for someone to get flagged for taunting. That would have been hilarious. That would have made my day. It honestly would have. It would have been hilarious. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but this was also, I believe, the lowest watched Pro Bowl, I believe, since 2006 is the numbers I saw. It only got 6.6 million people.
That's bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was on ABC, it was on ESPN, it was on Disney XD. I just love saying that. It's just a random fact that I love.
Disney XD, a channel that not many people will have.
You know, though, and I've, obviously, if you know me or you've watched the show before, especially me talking about the Nickelodeon broadcasts of NFL games, which I find hilarious. Of course I watched this game on Disney XD. I watched like 5 snaps of the game, but when I did, it was Disney XD. And then I had to switch over to it if I wanted to see the end of the game because it was about to be blacked out because the Dallas game was about to come on. And that gets blacked out on my TV because we live in Mavericks coverage area. So that was wonderful. Thanks, ESPN. Love you guys. But, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to break down here in this game. I mean, I'm not going to try to be...
we could just take a dump on it the entire time, but otherwise there's really no point in talking about it.
I kind of like going through the summary here just to show you what happened. So this game starts with Kyler Murray almost throwing a pick six, and everyone's thinking, okay, this is right where we left off. He's doing it again. Oh, my goodness. But then... it seemed like there was going to be some offense in this game, just a little bit. Kirk Cousins leads a touchdown drive to Kyle Juszczyk, ties it up at 7. Mark Andrews gets a big play from Justin Herbert, just a 15-yard pass, simple one-play drive. You know, you got to love those. Then Antoine Winfield getting a 63-yard pick six, and then they go for 2 to make it 15-14. Doesn't work. 14-13 the score. And, I mean, this pick six might have been one of the funniest pick sixes I've ever seen because you see everyone quits trying the second he breaks to the 50. Everyone's just like, I don't care. I'm not injuring myself for this game. And
It's
I mean,
then what's the point in having a Pro Bowl if you ain't gonna at least try to play? There's no point. There's literally
there really
no point.
Is no point. I mean, I have advocated for years that this just needs to be either a skills competition, just not played at all. I don't know. It's not like the NBA or NHL where you can do it in the middle of the season because having that weird week off, like after week 8 or week 9, would just would just throw an entire wrench in the thing.
It kills the flow of the season.
Yeah.
Well, it's like long seasons like the NFL, not NFL, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball. They can get away with it because they're long seasons and you need a break in between. And usually their second half is where, okay, everything's going to be revving up.
Yeah.
Like everyone has the fun week of the All-Star break, and then everything goes into serious mode.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you look at and it's just like, okay, this is happening. I don't know why this is happening, but here we are. Like, I can't remember last time I know I've never watched a Pro Bowl all the way through. I usually check in every once in a while. I was having more fun watching Texas and Baylor play women's basketball than I was watching. That was an actual fun game, and I was like, okay, there is something wrong when I'm more invested in women's basketball and gymnastics that are happening the same day than the big-time NFL game that week. Now, granted, it's pretty much a glorified scrimmage like most All-Star games, but...
Yeah, but at least with the other All-Star games, they at least in some aspect take it seriously.
Yeah, like the NHL All-Star game was this past Saturday. That's a lot of fun to watch. They did the 3-on-3 hockey thing. They separate up to where the divisions play each other, which I think is a really fun format instead of having it all be East versus West. I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch. I'm not going to lie. You get an 8-5 finish for the championship, which in hockey is still unprecedented, but it's always like, okay, this is happening.
Yep.
I'll allow it, I guess. It is the All-Star game. If my goalie ever gave up 8 goals in a normal game, I'd probably have a stroke, but I would be very upset. But
I think
it's the All-Star game, so it's okay.
I think anyone's goalie giving up that much would have a stroke.
I was like, the fact that no one gets pulled in that game, like, I would be that guy. Like, people would hate it, but I'd be like, all right, we're winning this All-Star game. I do not care. Yep. We are winning this game. We're not going to let the other divisions win.
Yeah.
This is my division now.
Division.
I might be rivals with everyone on this team, but I'm not letting us lose this game.
Yeah.
But moving on, I kind of want to talk a little bit about, we're kind of going to go all around here today. It's been, there's one certain thing, and we're going to save it for the end because, well, it's the big one, legally speaking, because you're not supposed to say its name, but I'm going to say it anyway later. We'll just say Rams-Bengals for now.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about the NBA just a little bit, the trade deadline coming up. We've already got monumental moves today.
A lot of moves.
I mean, it all started just 4.5 hours ago, 12:30 our time officially. The Indiana Pacers trading Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, and a 2027 second-round pick to the Sacramento Kings for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson.
Buddy Hield's actually leaving Sacramento for once.
Yeah, I mean, this has been rumored for like an entire year now. It finally happened. This feels like a meme. This was a meme for a long time. Everyone on this list, with the exception probably of Tyrese Halliburton for the Kings, was going to get traded. Now, there have been rumors already flying, or not rumors really, but interviews with executives behind some of the NBA teams. They're absolutely floored that Sacramento traded one of their young guards. But you don't understand. This is Sacramento. This is a team that at one point had 7 centers on a team. Keep in mind there are 15 people that could be on an NBA team. And when you have 7 centers on a team, I mean, thankfully the roster construction is still not as bad as it once was, but my goodness, there have been some times where it can be extremely questionable for the Kings. That didn't happen, thankfully, this time. I'm not super mad about this trade. Some people are because, I mean, De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis are both not playing amazing at this point. But, I mean, I think a change of scenery is nice. Yes, you lose some of your better players if you're the Kings, but I think it could work out.
In Sacramento, was just right with the state they've been, was even with some of these players, they're like, we have no, and there's been no investment to get this team farther than where they've been.
Yeah,
They're basically a glorified tank team.
Yeah, I mean, it's been forever since they've made the playoffs. It's just sad to see. But I mean,
it's bad management and bad ownership.
Yeah, and then we got even more information that came out. Let's go back a little bit earlier to this morning because there was some other news with the Pacers as well that, maybe Miles Turner was going to get traded. That was the other big name that's been linked, which is still weird to me because Miles Turner gets tossed around like he's just a paper bag, basically. They're like, he's going to go to Dallas. No, he's going to New Orleans. No, he's going to somehow get traded to every team, it feels like. That's not Indiana.
Basically, he's like, I better not even buy a house or even do anything. I might as well just stay at a hotel.
He might as well just live at Bankers Life Fieldhouse at this point. Like, if I'm going to be moving, just let me know. Just please. Just let me know.
He's like, I don't need to be buying a house or renting an apartment if I end up having to leave.
Yeah, it's one of those things that is just crazy to me.
The thing is, unless you're like really good, you're basically gonna get traded wherever. Basically, you're not guaranteed anywhere.
Yeah, if you're not a top 15 player in the league, you're pretty much on trade watch every single day of your life.
Yep,
which is sad, but unfortunately,
that's how life is.
Yeah, that's how life in the NBA is. It is like all professional sports. It's a cutthroat business. There's very rarely any loyalty.
Loyalty, what is that? It's nothing the NBA knows about.
Well, speaking of loyalty, Portland is about to get a big test of it with the big trade they made today, which is Larry Nance Jr., Tony Snell, and C.J. McCollum, the big name there, of course, being traded to the Pelicans for Josh Hart, Thomas Satoransky, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Didi Louzada, a future first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks in the future as well. So, I mean, it's a decent-sized haul, but, I mean, it just shows that the Blazers are ready to blow this thing up, I think.
Yeah, and for instance, with some of these first-round pick, the first-round pick and the 2 second-round, maybe Blazers could pick someone up to help Lillard out. But the problem is that those guys aren't guaranteed to work out immediately or even in a year after.
And I've already seen rumors that Josh Hart's going to get sent to the Blazers and then immediately traded somewhere else. Yep. I've already seen that rumor going around.
That I wouldn't be surprised, but it's like now with Lillard, do you still stay loyal to Portland, or does everyone understandably know that you need to get out of there?
Yeah, and
I'm on the camp that you need to be looking to get traded because it's pretty obvious Portland isn't being loyal to you, or ownership hasn't been great to you, especially ever since they've had him. They haven't really done anything.
Yeah, I mean, it has not been a fun time really at all for Portland this entire year, whether it be Lillard getting dinged up earlier at the beginning of the year, then you had the kind of trying to reinvent yourself without your star player. Your woes continue, and then it feels like things start to get fixed. Anthony Simons starts playing well. Everything starts looking up, and now we're right back to square one.
Yep.
I mean, this is I do feel bad for Portland. They're one of the teams I do legitimately feel bad for in the league.
I think everyone, Portland's always been that team that a lot of people feel bad for.
They're not the Buffalo Bills of the NBA per se.
No,
but they're definitely down there in the list of I just feel so bad for them because
they're basically one of those NFL teams you feel bad for, but you don't. There's really nothing you can really do about it. You want them to at least somewhat succeed, but it's just how it is. It's kind of like with the Bengals. You feel bad for their franchise, so you want them to actually do well.
Yeah, you want to see them do well. It's just like, okay, maybe one day, Portland. Maybe one day. Well, maybe you should have drafted Michael Jordan. That's all we can say.
That's not.
I mean,
that has nothing
to do with anything, but it just feels like the continuing curse of the Blazers, though. I mean, it's just every single time.
I love it how I know that everyone's like, they should have drafted Michael Jordan. First of all, you can't predict how good Michael would have ended up being. Second of all, they had Clyde Drexler. They're not going to get another shooting guard.
What they should have done is just invented a time machine, Connor. Gosh. Should just invented time travel and figured out that Michael Jordan would be good.
Oh, I've always considered that. I'm just saying it just doesn't work. It's just not going to work.
I know. It's just one of those things.
Basically, then they would get all kinds of what are you doing for not drafting Clyde Drexler?
Yeah.
Because Clyde ended up being an amazing player. Obviously not to the same level as Jordan, but because Jordan's in a class of his own with very few players even coming close to him.
Yeah, it's one of those things that'll never make any sense to me. But, of course, it probably made sense at the time.
At the time, it makes, like, watching the Last Dance documentary, they literally will tell you that you don't pick Michael Jordan. Like, you, in the moment, especially when in the draft that Jordan was in, you don't draft him. If you're the Blazers, you don't draft him because you have Clyde. So there's no point in getting Jordan.
Yeah, I think it also shows that, kind of to continue the tangent here, that the NBA really has changed. Because back then, like the whole, well, you're only going to have 2 guards. Why would you try to run a 3-guard lineup? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then you look at teams today, and it's just like, we don't care.
Almost their entire, like, you can have up to 4 guys that are guards.
Yeah, now you have small ball lineups where, our biggest guy's 6'8", so what? We're going to shoot a bunch of threes. Watch this.
Well, Golden State incoming.
Yeah, you look at Golden State where it's like, hey, Draymond Green's our tallest player in the court. Try and stop us. Watch this. We're going to hit 40 threes. We don't care. We do not care.
We do not care. We
have
beat
Steph
you.
Curry. We don't care. That's pretty much how it has felt this entire time, just watching the evolution of the NBA. And, I mean, it eats people up. It spits people out. It does not care.
And I know we talked about this before the show, but we have James Harden rumors going around.
Yeah, the James Harden rumors that he might get traded to Philadelphia for Ben Simmons is the one name I keep hearing. I know we talked about it before the show, and you were not the biggest fan of that, but
I mean, because especially with how Ben Simmons has been, I understand Ben doesn't want to play for the Sixers. Or, well, has he been playing with them?
He has not played a single possession this entire year.
I just want to make sure, in case I might have missed something.
Yeah,
but
no.
Otherwise, it's like, he doesn't want to be in Philadelphia because the fans are mad at him for how he performed, and he just looks scared, and he's basically, his stock overall has gone down.
Yeah, I mean,
it
just completely he just completely tanked his entire career, basically, that entire Atlanta series.
Yeah, because he was like, I don't want to shoot a free throw.
Yeah, the man was so scared.
It's like, just shoot a dang free throw. Try to make a basket. Try to get the and one. If you get the and one, at least you get 2 points out of it. The worst that could happen is that you get fouled, miss the shot, and make none of your free throws.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're that worried about the free throws, then, I mean, at least try to improve your rebounding maybe, or try to work on a way to where even if you don't get it, you set your teammates up for a good offensive rebound opportunity. I don't know.
Here's an idea. Actually get good at jump shots.
Well, I mean, we've seen the practice videos of him where he shoots threes and he looks like a decent shooter, and then he never does it in a game.
But in a game, he doesn't. That's the thing you just said. He doesn't do it in a game. He doesn't want to do it. It's like we see all this stuff. It's like, oh, he actually is improving his game. He doesn't, but when it comes to game time, he doesn't do it. He doesn't show that progress. So it makes you think, okay, is it just that day you just were making stuff, but you can't actually do it in a game?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It makes you question, does he actually want to be seen as a worthy player of that max contract? I get it. He's coming great down in the post when he actually does play like it.
Yeah.
But it's like, you got to be able to work more. If you have to be a more flexible player.
Yeah,
the NBA has changed. It's not like the age of when Shaquille O'Neal in his prime, where you can get away with not having to shoot anything outside of the paint.
You have to learn how to shoot a jumper, regardless of who you are in the NBA, whether you're 5'10" or you're 7'4". You have to learn how to shoot the ball at some point.
If you can't, then you're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, the best example I can give of that is Brook Lopez, who went from early when he got drafted on by the Nets, he was a pretty much standard big. He just played in the paint. That was all he did. But over time, he developed a mid-range. He developed a three-point shot, and now he's not the all-star he used to be. But he's a developed good guy that can come off the bench or be a starting center on a championship team like he was.
He's a great 6th, 7th guy off the 6th man.
Yeah.
He can make shots for you.
Yeah, he turned himself from a guy that was known for being a clutch big because he could rebound and score in the paint to, well, now he can shoot from anywhere.
And guess what? That work paid off for the Bucks in the end because they finally got a championship.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that's just insane to me how if you've already gotten where 99.9% of us will never be, just take that one extra step.
Yep.
Like, you know what needs to be done. We know what needs to be done. And if I know what needs to be done, you darn well know what needs to be done.
It's like everyone is telling you exactly that, and you still don't do it. But because we're going to end up probably talking about it for like 3 more minutes, let's actually
You know, let's kind of rear back. Let's keep it on Ben Simmons because we do have some news that came out earlier today about him. Of course, Adrian Wojnarowski, the head man of ESPN himself when it comes to NBA coverage, reported earlier today on SportsCenter that the Sixers are going to take the Ben Simmons stalemate as long as they can. If they don't trade him, they're just going to continue to look for a star player in return. They are not looking to make a deal for a good player and a role player. They want a superstar for Simmons. They're not going to settle for anything else.
It's like you could probably get two guys that could at least amount to close to that contract.
Yeah, but they don't want that. They want a straight-up star for star, which I don't know if that's going to work. Because
that's not going to –
it's the only thing I can see it – not to cut you off, but the only things I can see are the Harden news that's come out earlier today or Damian Lillard. Those are the only two I see where that happens.
And out of those two, I'd pick Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben Simmons, because of what he's – I think out of those two possible trades – Lillard's going to give you more in return. Harden is an amazing three-point shooter as his entire career, but I believe Harden has no form of defense at all. I'm not sure how I haven't watched enough on Damian's defense.
Lillard's not the best defender either, but they both – I mean, of course, they're both not known for their defense. They're amazing offensive talent.
Well, and I will say for the Sixers, you get a solid point guard.
Yes.
Right.
You get that kind of guard role that Simmons was supposed to be where – I mean, granted, he's not a 6'11" guard, but at the same time, you get someone who's in there to run the offense like it's supposed to be ran.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, you put Damian Lillard and Joel Embiid together, that's just going to be a monster deal.
That's going to be a monster deal.
Because, I mean, really anything Philadelphia does, if they trade for anyone, it's a win in my book. You get rid of Simmons, who clearly doesn't want to be there anymore, and you pair another star with Embiid. That instantly makes you even more contenders than you already are.
Obviously, we have to know what Lillard wants to do. If Lillard doesn't want to leave Portland yet, then you'd probably have to take that Harden trade.
Yeah,
but I still don't. I think Harden's gonna have to realize he's not as wanted as he used to be. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. I would take that trade in a heartbeat because he can get you more buckets offensively, but.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten injured this year.
Harden's more injury prone than Lillard has been so far.
Yes.
Because Lillard's been able to go much further into a season than Harden. Harden has to, take a game or two off or whatever, it seems like, before he gets right back in.
And, of course, Thursday is the big day for the trade deadline. We'll continue to update you. If we see anything that happens, we'll let you know. Other news that came out earlier, about an hour before we went on the air, Bradley Beal is planning to undergo season-ending surgery on his left wrist. The Wizards, who are already not in the greatest situation to begin with, and that they're kind of a middle-of-the-pack team in the East trying to make a push, continuing to kind of suffer a bit.
It's like they're there, but they're right in there where they could possibly make a playoff push, but, no.
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to happen. Getting over to the NHL, we talked about them a little bit already with the All-Star game. Not a whole lot to recap here. Just we pretty much have said our piece about most of it, but just looking here
it's
again.
Kind of more, it's like I see how some teams are still doing.
Yeah, just kind of giving you a little bit of a recap here in the NHL since we've been on the NBA for a while. I mean, once again, the teams to beat in the West, it's still Colorado.
Yeah.
Colorado's going to be the team to beat for a while. It's been a back and forth. The Central has been probably my favorite division. Obviously, being a Blues fan, I'm heavily biased. But it has been a really fun division. You've got Colorado, who's extremely talented. Nashville, they're just always in the mix at this point.
I think with regards to they've always, the last half decade, they've been either the best team in the NHL in regards to the regular season, or they've always been up.
They've always been top 10 easily.
Because the talent they bring in, some of them are really solid, and guys they've drafted have been pretty good. Yeah, or they're making solid trades.
Then you look at Minnesota, who's won 6 games in a row. The Wild are on a roll once again.
The Wild have always been a really good. They're that team that always is great in the regular season. You just got to see how they do in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's always their big area of concern.
Otherwise, it's like no one has really any issues with them.
Yeah, then the Pacific is a bit weirder in that Vegas is still really good, but just not as good as the Central is.
No, they're not as
which
good
is
as they used
weird
to
to
be.
think about. And then you have the Kings and the Ducks. Now, if you told me the Kings and the Ducks would be second and third in the Pacific at the beginning of the year,
Call you crazy.
You'd call me crazy.
Because it's like they've been awful the last couple of years.
They have been. I mean, you could see the pieces starting to come into place and them starting to get further and further in the rebuild, and that, maybe a few years away they could be here, but here they are now.
The thing is with Anaheim is that it seemed like even last year they were nowhere near to be able to be where they're at right now. It's like they were in shambles. There was all these problems with management. Maybe the news reporting was different in Anaheim. But from everything I heard, they were not going to be that great, and then here they are. Yeah, they're right there. They're third place.
And then you get into the wild card. The Blues currently hold that first wild card with 57 points.
You better hope they hang on to that.
I mean, they got a 5-point lead over the Flames, so that's about 2 games on a good round.
Hey, as long as they're able to keep the points up, they'll be fine.
Calgary with 52, and then Edmonton, Dallas, San Jose, Vancouver. All right there in the mix.
I will say that just kind of shows how good the Central is because
the Central's ridiculous.
because the Blues are only they're about 10. Yeah. They're just 11 points behind the Avalanche, but they have the same amount of points as those in the Pacific.
Yeah,
put them in the Pacific, they're going to dominate everybody.
I mean, you put them in. Let's hold the brakes on that. St. Louis has a long-standing tradition of picking the worst team in the Pacific to be bad against. Last year it was Arizona, where we just could not beat Arizona, and it frustrated. We lost we played them 8 times, and we went 5. We lost 5 games. We won 1 in overtime, and then we won 2. It was the most miserable experience of my life trying to watch the Blues make the playoffs. Then, you get to play Arizona the second to last game. You're the 8th seed now. So, thanks. And I was just
so basically kind of how I view my my Capitals because they do that to me all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating. I mean, obviously there's nothing I can do about it. It's just frustrating to watch sometimes where it's what's going to happen.
You expect what's going to happen, but you're also like, please, can it please not happen?
Same thing with my Mavs versus the Suns in the NBA. I guess it's just the state of Arizona in general. I don't know. I don't know if I have some fight with the state of Arizona in the sports world, but I guess I do.
I just remember when I was down in Arizona for the Fiesta Bowl for OSU Notre Dame, I was talking with a friend of my dad's just about hockey in general and basically kind of ripping into the Arizona Coyotes.
All I'm saying is if their owner really wants to move, we do have a nice Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. They can come visit anytime.
Please come.
I mean,
I will pay to go watch those games.
Yeah, I will not buy season tickets, but I will act like I will.
Yeah, I will
encourage others to do so.
Please, because hockey good.
Hockey good. What other sport can you legally fight someone and get away with? The worst thing you get for fighting is being put in a tiny box, and that's comedic. You don't like that. That's sports.
I mean, I will say, bring it when we had the minor league team here.
Yeah, we had the Blazers and the Barons.
It was wasn't it like the most attended?
When the Blazers were in Oklahoma I believe for 10 straight years in a row, from the mid 90s to the mid 2000s, they averaged over 10,000 people a game, which was the most in their minor league. In the Central Hockey League.
That shows there's a market here.
I remember even in 2008 when the Blazers were pretty much about to have a fork stuck in them in terms of being a franchise. They were still somewhat decent. You'd get tons of people that would show up.
Yep.
I missed that. That was a lot of fun to go to. My family would try to make a game once a year, make the trip up to Oklahoma City, watch it. It was a lot of fun.
It's I would be willing. It's if they're playing on a Friday or Saturday, and we basically we had nothing to do. We'd all right, Cade, let's go.
Yeah,
Oklahoma City. We'd go.
If I would just say the first time the Blues made the trip to Oklahoma City, I'm there.
Oh,
I'm there, just instantly there.
Yeah,
if they ever got to host I know the NHL and I love they do the Winter Classic and the Stadium Series. They ever play a game in Norman? Here, we're gonna have a game with 82,000 seats available for hockey.
Yeah, I think they'll just probably put it in the Paycom Arena.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't do it all the time. It's just the one-game thing that they do.
That's true.
The Stars got to play in the Cotton Bowl that one time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If they did that, that would be fun.
They probably would they'd go to the OU and then maybe go to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they might. But that'd be a lot of fun.
But obviously you have to be able to figure out how to make that work because the arenas are not meant for hockey.
So that would be the problem is because I know when they did it in Dallas, they had to do it on New Year's Day. Because I was like, yeah, if you guys try to do this in April, it's going to be like somehow you'll pick the one day it's 85. And it'll be like, why is it 85 in April? Oh, because the NHL chose it. That's just how destiny works sometimes.
Yeah. But I will say obviously the Atlantic, really solid, and the Metropolitan is just
the East,
both of it. The East, just the Eastern Conference.
The
in
East
general
is a bit top heavy though in terms of like you look at their bottom teams like the Buffalo, New Jersey, Ottawa, Montreal this year. Philadelphia, who lost 13 games in a row.
Yeah, the bottom half is not very great.
The Islanders, who completely fell off.
Yeah, typical Islanders.
Yet the Red Wings are somehow, 9 points out of the wild card.
All knows my former percussion teacher, Wayne Bowenshin's just happy that they're basically in contention, even though they're still far out.
The Red Wings should never be allowed to have fun. Same with the Blackhawks. Those two are not allowed to have fun for the crimes they committed against humanity, a.k.a. they beat my team, so I'm sad. They beat my team a lot and denied them so many times of being somewhat decent.
Well, here's the idea. How about you actually be better than them?
Here's the idea. They tried to move the team instead, and it caused great damage to the city of St. Louis nearly. Especially, I think when they tried to move him, it was right before the Rams got there, so St. Louis was about to have nothing. And it was like, we're going to move him to Canada. It was like, please don't.
I will say, when regards to my Capitals, they've been kind of off and on. They mostly been winning more games than they have been losing. I mean, obviously with their record 25-13, but they have 9 overtime losses.
59 points.
Losses, they have solid. But it's like there's still like 5-6 games they should have won, or they were overall better than their opponents.
Yeah.
And somehow lost. So it just blows my mind how they lose some of these games. But the thing is, this goes with every team, unless you're basically the top groups that you're not going to lose to teams that you typically don't lose to. But it's like, it's infuriating because they'll beat really good teams and then they'll just drop one to, like, let's say Montreal. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yep.
But, I mean, obviously, Florida Panthers still being very great, despite the fact they lost their coach really early on in the year, but they've managed to let that affect them. The Lightning still great as always.
Yeah, I was about to say, when is Tampa not going to be good at this point? They keep their entire core every single year.
Because the NHL does nothing about their cap.
Yeah.
The NHL's like, all right, hey, you're over the cap. And they're like,
okay,
whatever. And they're like, oh, we tried.
Guys, we tried. We did nothing and we're all out of ideas.
Their priorities are, the NHL as a organization, their priorities are in the wrong place.
I mean, sometimes
they don't actually do anything.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just setting up to be such a fun rivalry. Florida and Tampa Bay, the battle for the top of the Atlantic, and then Toronto. They're there.
They're always there.
They're always there. But how good are they going to be in the playoffs?
How good are they really? Because they always play because the rest of the Canadian teams are terrible.
I mean, this year,
mostly bad.
I mean, this year Ottawa's bad, Montreal's bad.
Oh,
you look over. I mean, Winnipeg's decent. Vancouver's okay. Edmonton, I keep expecting to make a push at some point.
Edmonton should be making a push. I mean, with the talent that they have, they've had.
I mean, you got Connor McDavid, and
you have two of the best arguably one of the best players in the league, and you've done nothing with them.
I mean, that's the Oilers, though. They're kind of odd like that.
Like supposedly, like in regards to, I keep forgetting their two names, but they're always like Tree commented saying that they were basically like almost like Wayne Gretzky like in their playing ability.
Yeah, I mean
even though that's a really big bold thing to say.
That is a bold thing to say,
but they've been really good for Edmonton as individuals. They just can't win games because the rest of the team isn't that good.
Yeah, and then you look at the Metropolitan, Carolina continuing to roll so far. The Rangers just a point behind them, though. I mean, New York, they've been waiting for this for a while. The Rangers,
I will say in regards to like previous years, this is the year to make a push.
This is the year to do it, and then the Pens continue to be there. They're just going to be there.
They're always going. The Pens are always going to be there.
The Pens are always there. Then the Capitals first in the wild card. The Bruins second in the wild card.
And there's pretty much no. I know they're only like a few games ahead. Actually, they're several games ahead of the Red Wings, but pretty much it's their own fault if they somehow one of these two teams lose.
It's one of those. If you somehow manage to let Detroit make this a competitive race, you've done something very bad, or someone got injured.
Yep.
That is the only thing I can say about that.
That is really the only thing.
When you have a 9-point lead over Detroit, and then it's Columbus, the Islanders, the Flyers, the Sabres, the Devils, the Senators, who are all way behind.
It's like you have to have a mid-season collapse in order for everything to go horribly
which
wrong.
could very well happen. We've seen it before.
It happens with any team in any sport. You do really well first half of the year, and then everything goes really bad.
Yeah, and I mean, moving on to college basketball, speaking of really bad, there were some upsets last night, talking about Virginia beating Duke.
Ooh.
The Wahoos, they've done it again. The defense of this Virginia team once again shines through, but this Virginia team, let me tell you, Virginia's a weird team. We've known this for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the only team that's lost to somehow Chaminade and UMBC and gained more credibility after both of those games. Every time they get an embarrassing loss, they get an amazing win right afterwards to balance it out. They did it again this year. They lost to James Madison at the beginning of the year. This was a complete joke of a season, it felt like, to anyone who wasn't watching from inside the ACC. But then slowly over time, you see Virginia get to progress and get better, and they get guys back. They continue to go. And then why not? Just go into Cameron Indoor and just be able to not really slap Duke around, but you lock Paolo Banchero down.
You basically prevent Duke from really being able to do their magic.
I mean, you just completely shut them down. I thought the in-game design play was amazing. I mean, it's something we see all the time in basketball. Get the ball back to the inbounder. Duke forgot that happened, and we're trying to play 5-on-4, and forgot that the inbounder existed.
Yes.
He's just standing in the corner waiting to get the ball, and the guy's like, here you go. I win.
Yep.
And then the entire crowd's just like, what just happened? I was like, how did you forget basketball? How did you do this?
Duke not actually playing as good up to their potential. I will say in regards, I understand because they dealt with a lot of COVID problems throughout last year, but it's amazing how much of a bounce back it's been for them. I know they probably had guys who bowed out because they didn't want to deal with the COVID stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
But they've really turned it around. They went from missing the tournament outright to now they're in position to get a 2 seed.
Yeah, I mean, they're right back in it like you'd expect them to be. But another big upset that happened down in Austin last night, Texas is back once again.
Only in basketball. They beat Kansas, ladies and gentlemen. Texas beat Kansas in a sport. That goes for saying so. This is revenge for football, I guess you could say. Well, this is a very odd year for Texas-Kansas relations. I would say in regards to how each program holds themselves, obviously Kansas in basketball, like we are the best that ever was.
Yeah, this is like a reversal of the roles, basically.
Except Texas is actually good.
Yeah, Texas is good.
Kansas is just terrible in football.
I mean, Timmy Allen with 24 points, a career high for him, having a great game. And, I mean, give all credit to Texas. They're still a solid team. We knew they were going to be somewhat decent coming into this year. And then the Chris Beard news, of course, that happened all the way back then, started to get more and more talent pull in.
I still think that, I know we discussed this way back when we first started the show back last fall, but it's like I was still not a fan of that the firing of their previous head coach.
Yeah.
Or resignation.
Shaka Smart.
Yeah, it was like, the guy was a great coach, and they were they were a really good basketball team. That guy had something there, but they got rid of him and then brought Chris Beard in.
It's just Texas in general, whether it be any sport really, has a weird problem about they try to let their boosters control way too much of the program.
And that's not a good thing
when you let a bunch of people who don't understand sports but understand wins and losses, that's the main thing they understand. They don't see win column go up. They're not a fan.
Well, that's a big problem at almost any major university.
Yeah, it's a big problem at most universities.
Well, it's mainly a major issue at universities that are really good at – it's mainly football has been the bigger one, but almost if you're good at any other particular sport, they will want to dictate how that will go.
Yeah, I think Texas is more of a problem just because of the sheer – amount of boosters they have. Texas just being such a big state in general and being the flagship school of the state, you're going to get a lot of psychos in there that do not understand why you're not 25-5 every year in basketball.
Psychos with too much money and not enough brain.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's a great win for Texas. Obviously, beating Kansas is a big thing for any.
Yeah. It completely keeps the Big 12 in order for a lot of teams. I do want to go back real quick to Saturday, though. Just if not to mention this one game, we can talk about some of the other games. Auburn eking out a win against Georgia 74-72. Georgia playing, in my opinion, their best game of the season against Auburn, taking it all the way down to the final 5 seconds before a questionable charge, no charge, goes in Auburn's favor, and the Tigers are able to get the win. And then Gonzaga just rolling over BYU. BYU usually the thorn in the Zags' side, but 33-point win in Provo will do the trick.
Yeah, that's where I'm just like, are you sure you're that good, BYU?
I mean,
Do you really want to come?
I do want to talk about BYU because we brought them up last week as losing to Pacific. They have not won since that game. They have lost 4 in a row. Santa Clara, Pacific, San Fran, and Gonzaga. And they play Loyola Marymount in a few days.
Because they were ranked, I think, last week or a couple weeks ago, they were ranked.
Yeah, they were ranked earlier in the year.
And now they've fallen off because they've lost to teams they shouldn't lose to.
Yeah, I mean, they're losing their spot. They've fallen to 6th in the West Coast Conference right now. Just not a good time for them. But some other games I want to kind of get a little bit on. Kentucky winning at Alabama. They haven't won there in a long time in Tuscaloosa. Kentucky getting a 66-55 win there. Arizona taking care of USC 72-63. Kansas just demolishing Baylor.
I was after we got done with the basketball games here at Northwestern, we're taking a drum set equipment back into the storage closet that we used to keep our stuff at. Yeah, I was walking by, I went, holy explicit, and just like how dominating Kansas was over Baylor. It was like, I've never seen Baylor get dominated like that at all. I mean, like, just shows how good Kansas can be when they're actually.
Yeah, so Kansas does this a lot at home. You can take them out on the road and it will be a fight, but once you get in Allen Fieldhouse, things become a lot harder.
Yep.
And then talking about some other games here, Purdue getting an 82-76 win over Michigan. The one I really want to talk about, because I stayed up till nearly what felt like 1 a.m. to watch this game. UCLA and Arizona State went to 3 overtimes because no one could do anything. This game was ridiculous. I mean, it went from, first of all, it's a Bill Walton game, so you know it's going to be a good game. You get Dave Pasch and Bill Walton on the call. You know something's going to happen.
All you have to say is Bill Walton.
So then you get, not only do you get the final, I'm going to tell you the final play of overtime. So UCLA has the ball, 1.2 seconds to go. All they got to do, here's the court, they're right here, they're going this way. The kid throws it to 10 feet over the guy he's supposed to throw it to. It sails out of bounds. Arizona State gets 1 second to inbound the ball on their own end of the court. In the tie game, Arizona State runs their inbounds play. They throw it up, wide open 3, rims in and out. We go to double overtime. It was just like Arizona State did everything right, and it just doesn't work. And then Johnny Juzang, one of the best players for UCLA, missed like 9 straight shots or something like that continued throughout the entire overtimes until he finally fouled out in triple overtime. And you get, I think, 8 total points were scored in double overtime, 4 by each team. And then you got the additional storyline of Bill Walton needed to go to the bathroom but couldn't because the game wasn't over yet, and he kept making comments about it, and it got really weird. Where he's like, I need to go to the bathroom. Dave's like, you can't go to the bathroom yet, Bill. The game's not over.
It's like, I need to go to the bathroom.
And you knew it got really weird because Bill started, like, talking faster, and he started, like, giving actual analysis instead of talking about his hikes in the Grateful Dead. So you knew it was getting really weird. And then you get to triple overtime, and Arizona State pulls off the win, 87-84. They stormed the court. There were kids not wearing shirts that stormed the court as well, and they're like 7 years old, and they're like, where are your shirts? And Bill's like, I want to hang out with those guys. And everyone's like, that's a little weird.
It's like, hold up.
It was like, okay, this is, if that's not Pac-12 after dark, I don't know what is. If
I think we all know that's not what Bill was meaning, but still, it's also like, okay.
It's also the fact that it's like 12:30 in the morning watching this, and your brain is like already trying to go to sleep while this game is happening. So you're looking at it, and you're just like, I have no idea what's going on. And then it's just like, your brain just feels like it's melting down watching this game, where you're just like, what is happening? What is life? Why am I watching this? I should be in bed. It's Sunday morning now. I need to go to sleep.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
But
as our vice
we also also Saturday, we also had Bedlam
We did.
that happened.
I watched some of that game, and then I decided I had better things to do with my life, like not worry about OU basketball, because why should I watch this team? I know what they're going to do. I don't need to watch them play. I know they're going to turn it over 20 times.
I wish I could have watched them play because I thought they were playing at 1 o'clock instead of 11, but I couldn't watch them anyways because I had to go prepare for the Western games.
So I turned it on because I was getting ready for the day. I was getting everything set up for later on. I turn it on. OU's winning. Things are looking good. I leave to go get Sonic. I come back. OSU's winning at halftime.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, whatever. Yep. It's a 1-point game.
Pretty much the Boone brothers pretty much played their hearts out in that game. They caused a lot of problems, and OSU just looked loose and just ready to play, and that's especially in the second half. They were ready to go.
This Oklahoma team, they're playing like I thought they would back in October, but I had all of November and December to get me hyped up about them. The Florida win, the Arkansas win, beating Iowa State, which all looked amazing, and I was like, this is going to be a team that's going to mess with people. And then they go right back to the slide I'm used to seeing start in February, starts in January. Tanner Groves losing confidence. I don't know what happened there, honestly. Like, I don't know if something happened to him. I hope whatever.
24 points in the
Well, here's the thing. Game. That's the best game he had played in like 2 months. He had a few games where he scored like 4, 5, 3. He was not shooting well at all. No one really looked like they cared outside of Groves. And I mean that Harkless had some good defensive plays, and then he turned the ball right back over. I don't know. This team is regressing every single game, and I don't know how that's possible. This isn't a Porter Mosier problem. He just got here. I don't know what is happening with this team. I don't know if this is just the final remnants of the Lon Kruger era rearing its ugly head, where
Possibly.
We expect the slide to happen at some point. But at this point, it's like, you know what? I'm back to where I was at the start of the year. At the start of the year, I was like, okay, I'll take making the tournament. I'll be happy with an NIT. If we don't make it, I'm not going to be surprised.
It's like the fact that despite the fact they're 13 and are they still 13-9, right?
I think they're 13-9 or 13-10.
Well, I'm just gonna go with the 13-9. They're 13-9, but yet they could still make the tournament, and they're actually predicted to still be like a 5 or 6 seed. It's like
or 9 seeds,
or 9 seeds right now, but still, it's like, and I'm just like raising my eyebrow. I'm like, if OSU had that record, they would not be getting much of a bid.
Yeah, 13-10 right now is where Oklahoma is. I think the latest stuff I saw was like 11 or 12 for Oklahoma.
Well, if they at least don't win most of their games going down the stretch, they're not probably going to miss the NCAA tournament. They'll probably make the NIT though.
Yeah, like I am fully Oklahoma has shots. Clearly, they've got these next 4 games here: Texas Tech at home, at Kansas, Texas at home, at Iowa State, at Texas Tech. These next 5. They have to win 2 of those 5, I think.
Because all those teams are ranked. Your better shot is you can still beat Texas. I think that
Texas at home is still winnable. That's a rivalry game.
And then you could go into Ames and actually win that game, though that's going to be really hard to do. I don't think you're going to beat Kansas.
Kansas is a guaranteed loss. That's just I've resigned to that fact.
I think the Tech games, the one at home, you could get one, but you're not going to win.
I'm not expecting. The way I think is if we're going to beat someone, it's going to be Texas at home. That's the only one I see.
And you need a big one on the road.
Yeah, you're going to need. I mean, even beating OSU, West Virginia at K-State, which I'm still not confident in any of these games.
So it's basically you need to win at least at most half of these games.
Yeah, I mean, 8 games left. 4-4 would be a dream.
Can we also check Oklahoma State? If we
want to check Oklahoma State here, let me just click on them
and just kind of want to see what they're
11-11. They've still got TCU on the road tonight at 6:00, so that game is actually about to start.
Yeah, it's about to start right now.
And then you get West Virginia at home, at Kansas, K-State at home, Baylor at home, at Oklahoma, at Iowa State, and then Texas Tech at home.
And the thing is, OSU could easily win most of these games or easily lose all these games.
Yeah,
that's how unpredictable the Big 12 is. Is that obviously OSU barely beat TCU at home, and I don't know how. I'm kind of predicting TCU will play much better overall than they did in Stillwater. So probably could win that game pretty easily. But
Yeah, I mean, this entire year has been crazy. I do want to get to bracketology real quick because we're starting to see here. Yeah, like Oklahoma we talked about. Here they come on the last 4 byes. They're really sliding down from where they once were.
Because I think the highest they were
at one point, they were like a 5 or a 6 at one point.
And they've just slowly crept down because they kept losing games.
I mean, looking for where Oklahoma is right now, yeah, they're an 11 seed currently.
Yep.
Which does not surprise me.
Now you got to play according to this bracketology, you got to play UConn.
Yeah, playing UConn. Yay! But looking at the 1 seeds, Auburn, Gonzaga still expected. Arizona's played themselves into a 1 seed now, which, I mean, they've gotten some big wins over UCLA and USC. Yeah. They deserve to be there.
Yep.
Purdue's still a number 1. You look at the number 2s, Kentucky, Baylor falling into a 2, Kansas rising into a 2, and Duke staying put. So, I mean, that's about what you'd expect for right now. I know there's kind of interesting North Carolina and BYU both falling down to 12s to a play-in game. That would be a lot of fun.
I like it how they made sure in this bracketology, they made sure they've kept the 1 seeds basically near their basically where they typically where they're originally are from.
Yeah, well, I mean, usually I think the committee does a pretty good job about that. I still liked the women.
I still hate it. They always keep sending Oklahoma State to like out on the West Coast, and it's like, why are we going there?
I mean,
like we need to play at least in the South or the Mid East or whatever.
That happened to Oklahoma one year. OU got sent out to Columbus and had to play Dayton and Providence, and it was just like, thank you for that. We get to play Dayton, and it's a home game for Dayton.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love that. And then you get to play Michigan State and Chicago in the Sweet 16.
Good luck with that.
And then we got beat because Denzel Valentine happened. But it was just like, thank you for that. Love you guys so much.
Hey.
And then the next year, like, okay, you get to play in Oklahoma State. It was like, thank you. But also Texas.
I still think the one of the more egregious ones that Oklahoma State got to deal with the matchup was when they had to play Oregon I think the last year they had Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
It was like, why are we playing? Because Oregon, overall, their record did not justify being an 11th seed. They should have been a much higher seed.
Yeah.
Instead, they were some reason slid into the 11th. It's like, wait, hold on. First of all, it was already a bad matchup for Oklahoma State anyways. Oklahoma State was a 5 seed, which the 4 and 5 seed and 6 seed, you're basically guaranteed to almost lose those games.
Yeah, those are the higher seeds. Those are the big high upset.
The thing is, it made no sense for Oregon, of all teams, to be there.
Yeah.
And then they proceeded to obviously whip Oklahoma State because the matchup-wise, it was not favoring Oklahoma State at all.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this team shouldn't – we're playing a team that should be at least probably a 6 seed. Instead, they're at 11. Makes no sense.
But kind of looking at the board here, some of the games that Joe Lunardi's provided us, there are a lot of fun ones on this matchup board. I know we talked about a first 4 of BYU North Carolina would just be insane to me. A battle of who gets a 12 seed to play Villanova. That would be a fun matchup. USC taking on Davidson. Davidson's a team I know I've talked about being high on this year.
Oh, yeah, they're always a really solid mid-tier team.
Yeah, they're always there. Arkansas and Murray State would be a fun one as a 7-10.
I would say fun fact, that's Davidson's where Steph Curry went to school at.
That is a fun fact. Fun fact, Steph Curry played Blake Griffin in a game one time in college, that's just a fun fact I like to pull out. They're showing that game on TV, I think, when COVID first started. I was like, oh, yeah, we did play Steph Curry. I wasn't there for that game. I could have saw Steph Curry in person. Also, I was 7, so I probably did not watch that whole – I was like, Blake Griffin dunk. That's my knowledge of basketball at 7 years old. Blake Griffin go boom. He dunked over a car. That's all I need to say. Has nothing to do with anything. Just wanted to throw that out there.
The thing is, he only dunked over the front part. He didn't dunk over the
Don't ruin my childhood. But anyway, other fun ones here. 6 seed versus 11 seed, Alabama, Miami. I think that could be a really fun game. Michigan State, Chattanooga is a 4-13 matchup. Lots of fun games on Bracketology. These are always fun to just mess around with and see where everyone thinks everyone is. But it's about time to wrap this up, and there only is one way to wrap this up. We've gone through the NBA. We've gone through the NHL. We've gone through college basketball. We've gone through the Pro Bowl even.
It's time to end it with the Mac Daddy of them all, the Super Bowl.
The game.
The game.
The game that everyone will watch, which means I probably need to open my tangent here real quickly just to say, before we get to start talking about the Super Bowl, never been much of a huge Super Bowl party guy. That's just always been kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
That, like, yes, people should watch it. It's a big game. It's a big deal to America. This is pretty much this is the most American thing possible besides the 4th of July. You get over 100 million people sitting together to watch a football game, and half the people aren't even watching the game to watch the game. They're just watching it to say they watched it.
And also the commercials.
Yeah, and also the commercials or the halftime show, which is just like this year's halftime show might be fun. You got Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and Eminem and people like that.
Kendrick Lamar. You have a, in regards to like hip hop and rap. You have a all-star lineup of guys to work with. I think I do, especially you have Dr. Dre at the forefront. I think it will probably be one of the better halftime shows. I really can't say the last few. I can't really say if any of them have been the most enjoyable to watch. I mean, unless you're some reason into last year's.
Yeah.
I mean, last year's it was really hard to do, especially
with all the COVID stuff going on.
COVID stuff. The Weeknd couldn't really do all the stuff he would like to do.
Yeah.
But I still think he had a solid stuff. I mean, at least he actually sounds like how he does in his songs.
Yeah.
Like you can't really say that about other artists.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there have been some notable Super Bowl halftime performances over the year. I mean, there was Left Chart. That was funny, I guess. Never forget. That's the only one I can think of. Most of them I honestly forget about. Usually after a few, they're not memorable usually.
I will say the worst one was the one with Maroon 5 headlined, especially because I think for me also kind of ruined it. They teased us with the Sweet Victory.
So the SpongeBob thing where they're like, haha, we're going to do the thing. Just kidding. We're doing sicko mode now.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? Just do the song.
And the thing, and supposedly the NFL didn't want to do it. Like, according to those who worked on that little animation, they said that the NFL didn't want to do the song. They just did it halfway.
Yeah.
So it was like, just go full out.
Do it.
The crowd would have been so into it.
Yeah, so you want to reconnect with every millennial and Gen Z person who had most people watch that episode at least once in their lifetime. Be like a nice little nod and a tribute to, one of the most influential animators of our entire era.
Exactly.
But no, we're just going to do sicko mode instead because, haha. But I mean, the Super Bowl halftime shows, honestly, and I don't know why I get worked up about this. I just do. Where it's just like, just do something. Do something related to the game.
Yep.
I don't want to hear some random group come out and be like, we're going to do our songs. Like, great. Now I don't want to watch the second half.
Well, I will say in regards to Super Bowl matchups, at least the Rams were a more predictable team to get here.
Yes.
If anyone would have thought the Bengals, of all teams, would have made it in the second year under Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I was like, I know Bengals people, and even they didn't think they'd make it this far.
No, they were at least expecting, hey, we could have a shot to make the playoff and get eliminated in the wild card.
Yeah.
They didn't think they'd get this far. The fact that they did is astonishing. It's like, because 2 years ago, they had the number 1 overall pick.
Yes.
And obviously that ended up amounting to Joe Burrow getting injured.
Yes.
But they had the number 1. They were terrible. It was Zach Taylor. It was probably the worst Zach Taylor was dealing with because he wasn't trying to lose, unlike some other teams did.
Yeah.
Like Jacksonville. They tried to lose on purpose. I mean, it was the year after, but it was the fact is that they were not trying to lose, but they were playing so bad.
Yeah.
It was like, this is not a salvageable season at all.
Mm-hmm.
Then
you turn it around.
Then they turn around. They get Joe Burrow, and my God, everyone was like, why would you pick a wide receiver in Jamar Chase when you need to get him an offensive line? Because
chemistry.
That's
the main thing.
I understand that because they're both from LSU and they played with each other. I get why you picked them.
Mm-hmm.
But the logic would dictate that you want to protect your quarterback.
Yep.
Now, well, I will say after this season, they need to actually start focusing on getting linemen because Aaron Donald's going to tear that line apart.
Yes.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. In regards to the game, this is before we're not getting to any predictions or analysis yet.
Yeah.
We're basically just talking about how they got here.
Yeah.
The Bengals were just like, it's amazing. They're this underdog team. They are the underdog.
Yeah, they're this kind of miracle team that's come out of nowhere.
It's like, it feels like destiny.
Yes.
Like they're a team of destiny, it seems like. Yeah. I mean, they've been doubted in every game they've played in the playoff, and they have managed to surpass every expectation. They managed to win game, managed to walk off every game.
They have. I mean, it's been really incredible what Cincinnati's been able to do. I mean, there's just nothing I can say at this point other than I'm still stunned they're even here. I'm glad to see it. This is going to be one of the more entertaining Super Bowls. This might be the most likable Super Bowl.
I think out of all of them, it's more likable. But
I mean, this is the one where it's like I don't have ill will towards anyone on this. I don't have any team I'm really favoring or anything. It's just two guys, two squads, two teams just here to win, and both of them are really likable.
Because Los Angeles has it right by the because Rams are right by with Los Angeles in their name, it kind of hurts their likability. But,
it does, but I mean
but obviously the thing is that makes them very likable. They have Matt Stafford.
Yeah, so they have Matt Stafford.
They have Matt Stafford, the guy who has suffered in Detroit for over a decade.
The man who took beating after beating after beating and also was on the lines. that enough is a punishment.
That's enough as a punishment. I mean, if everyone always said if he could at least, even with the Lions, if he could get a decent roster around him on both sides of the ball, the Lions could at least, well, they've made the playoffs before, but they've been hot garbage.
Yes.
In the years they don't make the playoff, they were terrible. Mm-hmm. Even though he, most part, was playing fine.
Yep.
But he's finally on a team that has great players, and Cooper Kupp coming out of nowhere and just being one of the best receivers in the game. Out of who would have thought a white wide receiver would actually be a favor for MVP?
It's always the sneaky people.
I know it's and this is not a jab at any white guy that's a wide receiver, because usually they're the slot guy.
Yeah.
They're never the number one target.
Yeah.
So the fact that and I never even heard of Cooper Kupp until this year. So it was like,
yeah, I mean, he's been out just kind of just vibing out there, just doing his thing.
I mean, you think because obviously they have Odell Beckham, who's gotten targets more than he didn't get in Cleveland.
Yep.
But I will say you can chalk up that to either Baker not playing well or Odell just being hurt all the time.
I mean, it's kind of by design the way Cleveland did it too. They're a team designed to run the ball, throw to your tight ends, make simple little ground and pound.
Of course, it was like, what? It just also felt like, well, then why did you go get Beckham if that's not how if you're not going to deep ball it? Because obviously in college, Baker could throw some deep balls, but ever since he got the NFL, he's not been the deep ball guy. Yeah. But anyways, enough about the Browns.
We can talk about them a different day,
but
preferably if they're
basically Los Angeles was in a pickle. You had Jared Goff to start in the offseason, and you're trying to figure out how to get rid of his contract for the most part and other aspects. But you finally get the Rams. The Rams were finally able to make a trade with Detroit. They were giving up Matthew Stafford along with Rams trading several picks and Goff to the Detroit. Now, I think Goff has not been the issue in Detroit. It's been multitude of different things.
There was never.
Goff was actually not bad. Like, he's not been super great, but you can tell a lot of things were not his fault.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to Detroit than just one or two things. There always have been.
But Matthew Stafford being able to play in Los Angeles has been a blessing for him because he's flourished. He's played the best. Arguably, I think it's been the best he's ever played.
I mean, and it's proven the same thing most of us have said for a long, long time. If you put Matt Stafford on a competent team that's not going to just be a weird mishmash of people, and also if you put him around talent, especially elite talent,
and just coaching,
and good coaching, he's going to lead a team deep in the playoffs.
And has more win. He had just by winning one game.
Yeah, I would say
he has more wins. But he's in 6 attempts of 6 playoff games. He's 3-3, and he's won all of them with the Rams.
Yeah, so this was the fun stat we mentioned last week. 0-3 in the playoffs as a Lion, 3-0 in the playoffs as a Ram. And it's just incredible how that works sometimes.
I will say Burrow is 3-0 in the playoffs.
Yes,
because it's his first time.
Yeah, it's his first time, and I mean. This Bengals team, I mean, we talked about them being a team of destiny earlier, but I mean, why wouldn't they be? They've got nothing to lose. They're not supposed to be anywhere near here.
They weren't even supposed to be. The best they was a playoff contender, nothing more. The fact that they made it to the Super Bowl is like, holy cow! It's like no one saw it coming. I definitely didn't see it coming. So, especially me as Chiefs fan thinking, oh, we're just going to get rid of them. And even if they get all the way to the AFC title game, it's like, nope, that didn't happen. Especially I had my little screaming rant 2 weeks ago, being like, we're gonna go to Super Bowl. And it's like, no, we did not.
Yeah, Joe Burrow says no.
Yep.
Just no.
Kitty go meow.
Yeah, as Tom Grossi says, kitty goes meow.
But both these teams, in many ways, have that feel of destiny around them, mainly because Stafford is he's that player you wanted him to succeed. Mm-hmm. You wanted him to do well, and it makes you willing to forgive that he's in a Los Angeles team. Typically, most people don't like Los Angeles or any New York team.
Usually LA teams do not get the benefit of the doubt in anything unless you're already on the West Coast or in
It's
LA.
like, unless you just are a fan of that team.
Yeah.
Even though it's really hard to find any fans for the Rams.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when they get relocated, to St. Louis and back, and then you're all around and over, you already burned the entire bridge of the St. Louis fan base. They all converted somewhere else by now.
They either went to being Chiefs fans or they went everywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, they've been all around everywhere. You pretty much killed off your LA fan base with leaving in the first place to go to St. Louis. So they're just kind of an orphan team.
And also, it's just, the same things with the Chargers, even though it feels like the Chargers actually has been getting a bit more respect.
A bit more.
But the Rams are just like both the Chargers and the Rams, they couldn't find anyone to get in their stadium, mainly because a lot of the West Coast just doesn't care.
Yeah, it's just more of a culture thing. Football's not a big deal out there like it is to us.
But it's because they have more than just football out there. But I think over time, especially with they're in the Super Bowl, they might get more respect, even if they don't win.
I mean, being able to play in your own home stadium. Also, fun fact, second year in a row that's happened. We've seen a team play in their home stadium for the Super Bowl. It had never happened before last year.
Well, according to Roger Goodell, the NFL is not very happy about this, so they're going to move everything to a neutral site in Arlington.
I would be okay with that.
Because this joke is Cowboys will never make it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that goes with the old joke of the Cowboys used to be Texas Stadium used to be the oldest or the biggest tornado shelter in the world because no touchdowns ever occurred there. That used to be the old classic joke I heard all the time, and then it changed to AT&T Stadium, and now it's just a place of sadness every playoff season, every time. But enough about every other team. Even though we've talked about these two already, we got to continue talking about get down to the matchup itself. We've talked about how they've gotten there. Let's talk about a little bit more about exactly what we think can happen and what may happen, what may not happen. Starting with the spread here, Rams a 4-point favorite at home, over under 48.5.
I like
so they're expecting this to be a pretty competitive game.
I do like it how they're the away team on this.
It is funny. So they got to use the Chargers locker room at their own stadium. Like the Bengals get to use their locker rooms. What's going to happen if they win? Are they just going to write like LOL on the locker room and be like, "Lol, this is your locker room.
This is our.
We're celebrating in your locker room, by the way." Like what do you expect is going to happen there?
Yeah, but all right. And obviously in regards to matchup, obviously protect Burrow at all costs.
Yeah, I said the O-line versus the D-line is always going to be a big matchup.
If the Bengals offensive line does what they do against the Chiefs, because the Chiefs D-line should have ripped that Bengals offense apart. Chris Jones and Frank Clark would cause some havoc in the backfield. Problem is they couldn't tackle Burrow, but thing is they weren't able to do it as often as they should have. But the offensive line played much better in that game. They need to show up and be willing to protect. Obviously, you got to worry about Aaron Donald. So you got to set up several schemes to stop him at all costs, because double teaming is a hard thing to do, especially that man's just a freak of nature. But you still got to deal with everyone else on the line that will also cause problems. So it's all about scheming in regards to how do you stop the Rams D-line, because I'm not really that concerned about the linebacking core for the Rams. The only real threat in the secondary would be Jalen Ramsey. So it's mainly offensive line versus defensive line. And can Burrow avoid pressure?
Yeah.
Or at least do what he did against the Chiefs and basically slip out of tackles.
Yeah, I was like, if the Bengals can either get the run game going or get at least the screens working like they were able to against Kansas City, they should have not easy time, but easier time.
It's an easier time versus
you're able to get something going there and make sure that the Rams are more focused on trying to stop either Mixon or Pirine, as well as Burrow running around in the backfield. You've got to be able to make them think about everything.
And obviously, it's gonna be Ramsey versus Chase pretty much most of that game.
And that's gonna be a lot of fun.
So obviously, it's gonna be up to Ramsey. Does Ramsey live up to expectations in the biggest game of his life, or does Jamar Chase basically burn him? Because Chase has been burning everybody.
That is true.
It's been really hard. I know Chiefs managed to restrict Chase in the title game, but by doing that, they left everybody else wide open.
Yeah, it leaves everyone else open.
So that's where Burrow has to come in and make decisions.
Yep.
And now we'll flip it from Bengals offense versus Rams defense, and we'll flip it. Obviously, with the Bengals defense, kind of just do what you did against the Chiefs. Pretty much force throws that Stafford shouldn't make.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a lot easier to do that to Stafford than it is to Mahomes.
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to make Patrick Mahomes look like a very bad quarterback at times says something about the potential for the Bengals defense to show up is there. And if they can even just do a fraction of what they did in the second half, life will be a lot easier for Cincinnati.
Almost definitely. But I think Cincy actually has a solid front line. Like, they're not the best in the world, but they can cause some problems. They were able to sack Mahomes, I think, 3 times, I believe, in the AFC title game. And then there's obviously their secondary picked Mahomes off twice, I believe, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
I forget the actual stat. I just know Mahomes threw
pretty
bad interceptions.
Yeah, he had a multi-interception day.
But so Cincy, I think I don't think there's going to have as much issues defensively unless Cooper Kupp just burns everybody.
Yeah.
Like he does.
I mean, that's a very real possibility, having to deal with both Beckham and Kupp.
I will say you're not having to deal with Tampa's secondary.
Yeah.
So you're playing against I would say a young but elite group of guys. Obviously, and I think overall, I believe the Rams should be able to protect Stafford for the most part, but don't be surprised if Bengals get back there and sack him maybe once or twice.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
But also be prepared for the Rams to pressure, the Rams to feel pressure from the Bengals. But it's the other way around. The offenses, I think, for both teams are at a disadvantage. I think it's basically the same thing. You have elite receiver and elite quarterback for both teams. Though I will say Rams have Odell Beckham.
Yes, I think the Rams have more
weapons.
They have more weapons in the passing game. I think the Bengals have more weapons in the run game.
Yeah,
Mixon's been playing well. Pirine, when he needs to carry the load, he can. He's proven himself having a big rebound year. I think the main thing for me is going to come down to, can Cincinnati get out of their own way?
Yeah.
This is the thing they've done a really good job at. They've been able to pretty much neutralize any of their weaknesses the entire offseason. Whether it be, making a comeback in their defense, turning it to another level against the Chiefs and being able to start mixing and matching with screens and Burrow escaping defenders. I mean, anything that needs to be done, Cincinnati's made counter adjustments. They've been able to do anything.
They've been able to do that for the most part, but I still think the biggest issue is that line is still not.
Yeah, it's still a huge problem, but the Rams, to me, have had a bit more interesting moments, like obviously the near comeback against Tampa Bay.
And turnovers.
Yeah.
It's basically, and the thing is, you can't blame Stafford for that one.
No, that's more of Cam Akers thing.
You got to hope Cam Akers hangs on to the football, and you got to hope Cooper Kupp just doesn't randomly lose the football.
Yeah,
you basically just avoid turnovers, and this goes for both teams. Do not throw interceptions. Do not lose the ball. I think it's more of a Rams issue than the Bengals, because the Burrow has, for the most part, has been clean for the most part of the playoffs. Like, I know he hasn't been perfect through most of it because the defenses for all the teams they've played have been playing pretty good, but otherwise he's been clean about not turning the ball over, and the running backs and the receivers have been like, we're not going to cough up the football. But obviously, you're dealing with an elite defense in Los Angeles, which this could be the last year you see that core together. So this is, for the Rams, this is your moment.
Yeah,
moment to get a ring. If you do not get it, I hate to say it's probably going to get blown up.
Probably.
Mainly because cap problems.
Yep.
And well, as the Bengals,
this is the beginning.
This is just the beginning. This is
they're going to be here for a while.
I mean, with all that talent and you're not paying a crap ton of money for them, most of them you're not really giving you haven't yet to give max contracts to. I mean, Jamar Chase is just Jamar and Burrow are still under rookie contracts, and Burrow's doesn't expire for at least another two or 3 years. And same thing with Jamar. He has like 4 years left on their rookie contracts. Obviously, Burrow's going to get extended. You would expect Chase would get extended after halfway through his rookie contract.
Yep, but it is going to be an exciting time. But now it's time for us to make our predictions. Let's see.
We've broken down pretty much everything. Obviously, in regards to weapons and mostly from some experience with the Rams, you think they'd be you would look at them like they're the clear favorite. It's playing in their stadium. Well, hopefully if you're the Rams, hopefully most of those fans are your fans. Hopefully, but obviously with Cincy, they haven't had the biggest fan base, but they're the only real team in Ohio that's not the Browns.
Yes.
So if you're a Browns fan, you have more passionate fans that are willing to see you lose, while as the Bengals, it's like they have their base. They're just like,
hi, we're here.
But they've also dealt with the same suffering as the Bengals. Basically, it's not if you're Ohio from Ohio, it's not been the best time.
All their success goes to Ohio State for college.
Yeah, but it's really hard to say where the fans are, who has more fans. But obviously, people are behind Cincy because they've been miserable through all playoff turmoil. They haven't been great for a long time.
Yeah, they're still trying to get that Super Bowl.
Obviously, many people believe Zach Taylor doesn't deserve to be the head coach, even though this has been a huge turnaround. I'm like, yeah, the talent's there, but it takes good coaching, solid coaching, because he's an offensive coordinator. He was pretty good when he was at Cincinnati.
Yes.
So it's like, you can't sit there and tell me he doesn't at least know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yes, for granted, I don't think he should have been a head coach for an NFL team right away because he was just an OC. The fact that he immediately got a head coaching job in the NFL was like, wait, hold up.
Yeah.
But then obviously you're like, well, he doesn't have a great hand. He literally got hired on a team that is progressively getting worse and worse. So can't really blame him for those first 2 seasons. The first few seasons he was there.
Yeah, now that he is a team basically that he has more control of and can scheme around and what he wants to see in a team, what do you know? Now they're in the Super Bowl.
And you have Sean McVay, who's been a brilliant head coach ever since he's been. But obviously you got a lot of the Rams turmoil kind of went through Jared Goff.
It did.
But overall, Rams were a great team overall. Just the issues, bad quarterback play, but now they have a great quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams have a few weaknesses. I think the Bengals have the bigger weakness in that offensive line. But
through everything they've been through, the Bengals have been able to overcome their adversity despite all their issues. Heck, I'd probably say every single game they've played in the playoff, they probably shouldn't have won them, but they did.
Yep.
They did, and well, except for maybe the Raiders game. I should take that back.
The Raiders game, they played pretty well in most of the game.
But the Titans, they shouldn't have won that game. Tannehill gave them that game, but hey, it takes a good team to accomplish a victory like that. It's really tough to do that in the NFL because you can have a team that can turn the ball over 4 times and somehow still win.
Yeah.
And then you have but then you obviously have the Kansas City game. If Kansas City does play at least remotely a little better than they did in the second half, they'd be in the Super Bowl right now. But no, they're not. So obviously, I really would say pick the Rams, but there's just something about Cincy that I want to pick them.
Yeah,
and I think that's the team I'm going to go with. I believe it's going to be very probably. I'm not going to be high scoring, but it's probably going to be like kind of what it was with the Frisco game.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those like 20-17 types of games.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be 20. I think Bengals will win this one 23-20.
Okay. But I think there's a lot of things that go into this, but this Cincinnati team, I've been saying this since about week 5, week 6. I know I've talked about it with Andrew mainly when we did our shows. I was thinking if this team can get its act together and play like they're capable of, they can make this run. I thought they could legitimately make a run. I didn't think they'd get this far. I thought the buck would have stopped a few weeks ago in Arrowhead, but I think that only confirms my decision that if you're able to make it as far as you have at this point, despite the young talent, you've got Joe Burrow.
You have no pressure on you. All the pressure
you have
is
no
on,
pressure. Everything's on LA.
No one thought you'd be here. There's way more inner turmoil and pressure around the Rams because we should have had a ring already. The fact that we don't, and we've gotten all these trades. We've bought so many players.
Yeah, you've put all your stock into this year. This is kind of a ride or die year for LA. Cincinnati, this is just the beginning.
We can come back next year and win it, no problem.
Yeah, I think with all that momentum,
take 2 rings.
Yeah, I think all that momentum going Cincinnati's way, I think the Bengals get the job done. I'm going to say it's a bit more high scoring. I'm going to say 28-24.
Yeah, that's
a little bit more high scoring. The Cincinnati School District has already taken next Monday off for Super Bowl Victory Day. It's a little early calling the shot, but I like the optimism, but that's a bold take.
So what happens if they lose? Do they still get this?
They still get the day. I guess it's a day of misery and yelling into your pillow. I don't know. I don't know. I just believe personally, as an American, the day after the Super Bowl should be a national holiday.
It should be a national holiday.
Everyone should get that day off. No one should have to work.
Exactly.
If you're going to have a party on Sunday, either move the Super Bowl to Saturday night or make Monday a day off. Do one of the two.
I'll say, well, you and me will be having a fun time watching that Super Bowl.
We will, but it's going to be fun. I do want to leave with one note, though, before we go off the air for the evening. We talked a little bit about college basketball. I just want to mention this game real quick. Number 1 is on upset alert, ladies and gentlemen. Arkansas up 23-13 on number 1 Auburn in good old Bud Walton Arena. That place is going to be absolutely rocking tonight. They're expecting a sellout crowd. Arkansas athletic director and head coach Eric Musselman, they've already sent out release forms for fans to give to their bosses, allowing them to say, hey, I'm going to the Arkansas game tonight. I need to get out of work early. They were trying to get the governor on with it to get everyone out of work at 4 o'clock to get down to Fayetteville or get up to Fayetteville, wherever you are in the state of Arkansas, the natural state. It is going to be a rocking time there. 6:32 to go in the first half. 23-15, Arkansas currently beating the number 1 team in the country. We talked about OU earlier. That's a quality win for Oklahoma, beating Arkansas. If they can beat Auburn, you get a weird circle there where OU beat Arkansas, who beat Auburn, who beat OU. That'd be something interesting just to note. But other than that,
I will say really quickly, just in regards to here in the state of Oklahoma, currently Oklahoma State is up 23-18 on TCU.
Okay, and Oklahoma doesn't play till tomorrow night, anyways.
Yeah, for you, it doesn't really matter.
OU does matter to me. That's about it. Most people at this point are just sad watching their team. It's just not a fun time.
But here's the thing: I don't care.
I do though. But the important
your
thing
opinion is invalid.
That's not true. The important thing is we hope you have a good evening, no matter where you are, whether it be day, night, rain, snow, sunshine, nighttime. I don't know, wherever you are in the world. We hope you have a good one and that you make the best of it. For everyone here at NWTV7 Studios, I'm Cade Kennedy saying have a great night, everybody.